What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F1 24 My Team Career Mode episode. Today, round 18, the Singapore Grand Prix. Another street circuit. We had one last week out in Azerbaijan around the Baku street circuit. Today, it's going to be a tricky one. You'll remember last season, George Russell courageously collided with a barrier. He aimed for a gap that existed, and he is still a racing driver. It's a great Ayrton Senna quote. Lived in reality in the 2023 season. And obviously this is Q1. We're still getting used to the track a little bit, as you can tell, a little bit cautious through the last corner before the DRS straight. Braking here just about the 100-meter board and turning it in, trying to maximize the track width there without bottoming out over any curbs. You do have to attack the curbs around the circuit, but not too much, because they can easily spit you out into a barrier. Now, obviously our first laps in Q1, still getting used to the car, still getting used to the track, but generally the car's been feeling pretty good when I get it hooked up. This corner in particular has felt a lot easier on this year's game than previous years. Not sure why. Maybe it's just me as a driver constantly trying to improve, avoiding a kick Sauber, and the wall there is very, very close to ripping our front left tyre off in Q1s. Daniel Ricciardo goes fastest, followed by Max Verstappen. How expectations can be subverted there. We thought it was going to be a Visa Cash App pole position, but not quite. Here we are across the line for our first lap. P3 behind Ricciardo, but P3. It does drop us down to P12 after everybody else has completed their laps. Obviously this is going to be our final Q1 run. We should be pretty safe, but we're obviously doing another lap just to make sure, obviously throwing the car over the curbs of turn 1 and turn 2 there, maximizing the track width as we leave that kind of turn 1, 2, kind of 3 complex. We've already picked up 2/10 on our Delta. We're trying to save a bit of battery to use later in the lap. Purple sector 1, which is very surprising, especially for the non-usage of our battery. Some of the lights reflecting has always been giving me, throughout qualifying at least, almost the feeling that it was raining. It was very strange. Occasionally I thought, wait, it's raining, but it's absolutely not. Now, it's still sitting around 1.5 tenths, 2 tenths advantage. Now here we get a bit more of an advantage. We find almost 2.5 tenths advantage in that hairpin alone compared to our first lap. Just being a bit braver through the very thin bridge, as it were. Again, getting very close to the outside barrier there, but we've picked up another couple of tenths just down there, and we've actually got more battery than we know what to do with. 8 tenths now. Qualifying is complete. The checker flag is out. We go a little bit deep into one of the penultimate corners. We actually kiss the barrier ever so slightly on the outside, chuck it in for the last corner, hold on tight, and we actually lose some time there towards the end, but generally a pretty good lap. Now, if you're not subscribed and you want to see more videos like this, hit the big red button, you know what to do, and you'll stay up to date every week. But here we go, first lap in anger for Q2. Obviously hoping for a bit of a repeat of Q1 really, where we just find heaps of time through every lap that we make. Again, pretty good line through there I think at the moment. Obviously trying to mount the curb but not too much. Trying to find the best line through that corner has been a bit hard, but we seem to be doing a bit better and a bit better until we get it wrong and it goes not well indeed. Again, personal best, obviously it's our first lap in Q2. Braking point for this corner in particular I was struggling with all weekend long, and this corner can be a little bit unsighted, annoyingly enough, with where I put my heads-up display in the top left, which is not really ideal. We go a bit deep there, just in that whole section entirely, really. We just kind of went a bit deep first and then deep again. It kind of unraveled kind of annoyingly into probably a bit of a time loss there on that hairpin. Hopefully we'll be able to get it all back there. A nice, neat and tidy end to that DRS zone as well. We obviously made this first run in Q2 on used tyres, so this won't be really representative of our full pace that we have. And again, just experimenting here and there, trying different lines, but also trying to keep it on the track. We almost, completely botched that lap at the very last corner. And as Mark is saying, only 2 minutes left of the session, we have to do a solid lap here. Again, braking late, tipping the car in, jumping over that curb nicely into turn 1. And it was a very, very good start to the lap. Already a tenth and a half up on our previous delta, while still saving some good amount of battery there. Again, into 4th gear there. That was pretty good, I would say. We've got a lovely exit onto this straight. As you can just see, the delta is climbing. 2.5 tenths of purple, sector 1 apparently. And now we're up to 3 tenths. We've done a great job of this lap so far. So good. A little kiss of the barrier on the outside actually, just for good measure. Again, I think it's when the driver names in the top left build up and you have, all 5 up there. I kind of can't see where the apex is of that corner that I've been mentioning, that is a little bit unsighted for me. Even that hairpin it comes out of nowhere. You kind of lose it in the background behind that heads-up display. But look at us now. We are absolutely flying. 1.5 seconds advantage right now. 1.6. Do I call 1.6? Maybe it's a 1.7. Let's have a look as we go into the last crucial corners of the lap. Tip the car in nicely. Very good rotation over the curb there as well. And 1.8 seconds now on the delta. What a formidable lap this is. This is I wouldn't say reminiscent of Hamilton's, simulation beating lap, but that was kind of what it felt like as I was crossing the line there. And obviously we're through to Q3 with that lap, obviously. But it was great confidence building actually, that previous lap in Q2, because I think we got the fastest lap of that session, which is huge for our confidence. And look at the confidence we had through there. Absolutely giving the car no sort of confidence gap. We just weren't even risking it. I mean, we were risking it by just throwing the car in. You can see we did get a little bit upset over those curbs in the last 2 corners, and here at the unsighted corner, it makes it very hard to know where the limit is there in this car, because we can't hit the apex fully. We can't maximize the exit because we don't want to, absolutely bin it in a barrier. We've been doing well in these races. We've got some more sponsors, but we don't have that kind of, throwaway money. We can't afford to just bin a car, not just for the money, but also for the position of where we are. As we almost just giving little love taps here and there to those barriers. They're ever so close, and we should probably avoid doing that so we don't get in the habit during the race. And again, we're coming up to the last corners now. Trying to drop it down a gear, see if that helps, see if it makes it better in a fastest lap. But no celebrations just yet. Everybody else has yet to finish their lap. Where do we end up?
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. Things have changed slightly around the Marina Bay circuit, with 4 corners removed between turns 16 and 19. It means the lap length is now just over 3 miles, and that might come as a welcome relief to the drivers, and more especially their brakes. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position, and Brown completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, Stroll, Gasly, Verstappen, Bottas, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Joe, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Théo Pourchaire, Albon, Ocon, and Logan Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Indeed it is, Crofty. Time to go to the track for not a pole position, but a front row. Our first front row start of the career so far. And speaking of careers, if you're down for the long term, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to stay up to date. Now, I was really tempted here. Obviously no wise words from Mark this time. He's obviously wetting the bed, purely thinking about this turn 1, which is going to be chaotic, to say the least. Us versus Fernando Alonso. But Mark doesn't have much recommendation for us other than medium hard. I'm thinking hard soft, hard medium. Is there anything we can do to throw off the game of our rivals here? Is there anything they're not expecting us to do? What could we do different? It's easy 11 laps on one compound, 11 on the other. I'm feeling that the medium is the better way to go. Pace at the start, stay with those around us, maybe even get ahead and pull away, but here we go. All the lights are on. Now they're out. Immediate start there as we get a lot of wheel spin off the line. Alonso's coming over just to cover us off. We're down the inside in turn 1. We use all of our elbows just down. We leave the door open for Alonso because we're not that much of, well, I don't want to say the word, but there we go. Running very close behind him. We go down the inside again for turn 3. Razor sharp elbows here on us. Alonso trying for the switchback, but we've got the battery and we've got the pace just to keep him behind, just to stop him from getting back ahead of us. We've actually skipped to lap 8 because we've just been holding him back, and look at the huge train behind us. In the bottom left you'll see the map as we go massively deep. Alonso cuts to the inside. We're going side by side towards this very tight section as Alonso backs out. A very smart play because I was going full kamikaze there. Just purely I had to. We have the chance of a race win as we go deep again. Can we get the acceleration? A lot of wheel spin. Alonso's right behind us though with DRS, but we just had the battery and the pace with the engine and drag reduction just to keep him at bay just there. But what a hectic first stint, really. The whole shebang is coming out. We've held on to the lead after claiming it in the first couple of corners. Obviously getting our elbows out, and Alonso's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive than he is being at this moment. We've got a massive train behind us, pretty much almost, what is that? That's got to be all of the points paying positions are right behind us as we get all out of shape over that curb, which allows Alonso to get nice and close to us, but not close enough. And moving on to lap 10, we're going to be boxing at the end of next lap, I believe. And now we're just going to try and make sure that he gets no opportunity again to a lot of wheel spins. We almost spin out actually as Alonso gets the acceleration and the DRS. Now we've got to fight for it. Inside, outside, squeeze to the inside. And a little bit of oversteer in the middle just for kicks. We've once again managed to get the better of Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. We're just being so aggressive with him. We're bullying him as much as we can just to try and hold on to the position. If we let any of these guys past, they will be flying ahead of us. I don't think we have the race pace to beat them in like a 1v1 situation. Especially when they have DRS and we don't. I think if we had DRS as well, we could maybe pull away. But I don't think as we go a little bit deep there, I don't think if we don't have DRS and they are just waiting in a line to, you know, overtake us one by one, if they're being sensible, they beat us here. We're pulling into the pit lane now to switch onto hards. There's a few actually going a bit longer, one lap longer. There's a Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin. Quite a few that have gone past us there. So we've really got to make this outlap count, and obviously the pit crew have to make this pit stop count as we pull in, put the hard tyres on. I'm looking behind, just checking. There's a Ferrari actually before the Aston Martin of Alonso, and Leclerc seems to have jumped the Spaniard in the pit lane. So whether Fernando had an issue with his pit stop, or if he just couldn't get out because of an unsafe release potentially, he couldn't get out there and throw his car into danger. But that has now left us with Charles Leclerc just behind us, around a second behind. I'm trying to keep him out of our DRS, but I feel like the Ferrari and everybody who was around me before essentially being a bit faster than us in race pace, and therefore he will just catch up to me, especially if I ride curbs just like that. But we've got Porchera up ahead on mediums, as Sergio Perez is out of the race. I'm not entirely certain why. I don't think he's collided with the barrier, otherwise that would probably be a safety car as we lock up, almost spin, and yeah, have a bit of a moment there, probably because of that Red Bull just in front of us. We go massively deep, just avoiding the wall, and obviously that has let Charles Leclerc straight onto our gearbox, and we're still yet to catch Portier, which is not ideal. We have caught him by a lot of time this lap, so hopefully, as you can see, everybody else is now in the pit lane at the end of this lap. I'm hoping that we come out just ahead. They are starting to set off down the pit lane again after changing their tyres. Do we have enough pace here to get in front of them? I don't see them at the end of the pit lane. They were there. There was a flash of red on my screen on the left, which I believe is Carlos Sainz leaving the pit lane, and we are free and still in the lead of this race, which is absolutely crucial for us. Again, I don't think we'll have the pace in race pace to stop them from, you know, pulling away if they were to get in front. So we've got to be aggressive here, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. As we go horrendously wide there, we had a massive moment through that last corner, and that just compromises completely as Leclerc is going aggressive on the inside, but we just cut across the front there. As I just know, or I knew as well at the time, I was braking so much later, but my traction is still questionable at the best of times. But yeah, I've been pretty confident on these brakes, especially this race weekend in particular, just purely because I don't know what it is. Maybe the brake bias is just, it's better on the rear. Maybe the car in general has just been feeling a bit better, but you know, the weight's been redistributed in a nice way. Not too sure, but with a bit of a kiss of the barrier as well, just for good measure. We've actually been dropping Charles Leclerc, as I guess he's been battling with his teammate behind, but we have the lead of the race. We're on the final lap of the race, and nobody is even close to us. Again, we need to be careful. We need to push to keep them outside of DRS and stop them from launching any attacks, but we're also trying to go for fastest lap here as a final lap. We've been saving our battery for a couple of laps now. It's not a personal best even in the first sector, but I'm hoping that we can at least make some good inroads on the rest of the lap. I'm assuming we got that previous personal best first sector from when we had DRS and obviously fresher tyres just after the pit stops. That's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm hoping. We're now winding our way through this section, and the Ferraris must be battling because they're losing time hand over fist to us at the moment. Although Leclerc seems to be more than a second behind Sainz. So whether, I don't know, Sainz and Leclerc had a bit of a ding-dong and Leclerc picked up some damage and Sainz, you know, swerved on through, I don't know. But we're coming up to the final sector, the final few corners of the Singapore Grand Prix. We're in the lead. We have a green middle sector. Is it going to be the fastest lap of the race and the win? We head around the last corner of the Grand Prix to take home victory.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Great victory. And hopefully a fastest lap as well. Let's find out.
It's never easy to make it across the finish line here in Singapore, but they've done so with some style here today to take a remarkable victory.
and they left absolutely nothing on the table today. It wasn't just the race victory, but it was the bonus point for the fastest lap too.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Indeed, Crofty. Very, very happy with that. First for us. It's a first for us. And it might be a first if you're not subscribed yet. If you're new, check out some of the other videos, then think about subscribing. And hopefully we'll get some more podiums and wins in the future, obviously leading the 2 Ferraris of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Now, did we get the fastest lap?
And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Indeed, we did. Fastest lap, a 1:31.0 to take the win. The max points for this race weekend, which I was not expecting going into it at all. Obviously, ourselves on the top spot, followed by Sainz, Leclerc, Piastri, Norris, Russell, Alonso, Hamilton, Verstappen, Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Bottas, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Zhou Guanyu, Esteban Ocon, Albon, Pourchaire, Ricciardo, Sargent, and Perez. Obviously, in the drivers, Verstappen still leading, 42-point lead over Lando Norris, and we are strolling clear of the Canadian in the Aston Martin in P11. If you enjoyed that joke. In the constructors, Ferrari's obviously back on top. Fierce fight with Red Bull, but we are sealing our place in 6th of the constructors. Now, highlights are here. You can see how aggressive we are off the start straight away. The Ferraris almost came through straight away, but you can just see we go completely deep. Missed the corner a little bit. Alonso's trying to get switched back. We go deep again, but we luckily get the traction here to kind of fight back at Alonso. And yeah, we just absolutely elbows out. Did not care. And I don't know if you can see actually in the highlights, it almost looks like it's raining in some parts. Can you see? I don't know if it's just something weird with the ray tracing that's been on there, but that's where we kind of clipped a wall. Yeah, crazy race, crazy result, and yeah, hopefully crazily enjoyable for you guys, almost as much as it was for me. After recording, I went and had to read a book to calm down, which is not something I do normally, but there we go. It's a very enjoyable career mode so far, and I love that little switch to the outside that I did there. But anyway, this isn't the last race of the season. It's not the last race of the series. We've got more to come, and next time out we're actually heading to COTA, United States, for a little bit of a America's blast, to be honest, for the next 4 races. Obviously, I'm not expecting the win next time out. I think this was purely from qualifying pace. We managed to pull it out of the hat somehow and just hold everybody else back, because it really was holding everybody else back. You can see the train sometimes in these highlights of just everybody following the car in front because they couldn't get past me. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. If you're new, think about subscribing yet again. And yeah, let me know in the comments. Should we stop giving Sargent the wooden spoon and instead get a different driver? Let me know in the comments. But I'll catch you all next week for COTA.